The Premier League has finally returned back for the 25-26 season, and already the narratives are starting to write themselves. Clubs have invested in total over £1 billion already into investing and improving their squads, and this season is set to be one of the most competitive, difficult, fiercely contested Prem seasons that we've seen in recent memory, and Matchweek 1 did not fail to deliver. Liverpool reminded everyone why they are still the favourites for the title this season. Sunderland battered West Ham 3-0.
Goes alone.
City reminded everyone they are still inevitable.
And he finishes.
And Arsenal's big win somehow left more hope for Man United. Matchweek 1 had everything: shocks, statements, and one massive warning for the season ahead, because across the opening weekend, 7 goals came directly from early crosses or set-piece deliveries from Sunderland to Spurs to Forest. The message was clear: direct football is back, baby, and if your team didn't embrace it, they got punished in week 1. I'm Nini FC, and I'm here to bring you guys what we learned from Premier League Match Week 1. We kickstarted the new Prem season Friday night at Anfield as they open up the new season against Bournemouth under an emotional tribute to Diogo Jota. Liverpool's new number 9 and Hugo Ekitike wrote the first headline with a composed finish past Petrovic. Early in the second half, he turned creator, holding the ball up for Cody Gakpo to curl in with a direct run on goal to make it 2. At 2-0, Arne Slot's side looked in cruise control, possession heavy, wide rotations, crosses flying in, but a loose pass from Szoboszlai handed Bournemouth a lifeline, whose first time cross across goal was buried by the ever-impressive Antoine Semenyo. Semenyo then produced the moments of the match: a solo run from the halfway line, shredding Van Dijk and Konate and bringing Bournemouth back into the game at 2-2. Bournemouth's direct transitions repeatedly unsettled Liverpool's high defensive line. Liverpool's 61% possession produced 19 shots, 20 crosses, with expected goals of 2.2 for Liverpool versus 1.7 for Bournemouth. Yet Bournemouth earned 7 corners and often carved Liverpool open in wide spaces. Slot's philosophy was visible: aggressive pressing, quick switches, high tempo. Ekitike's movement already looks tailor-made for this system, a goal and assist on his debut, becoming the first Frenchman in Prem history to do so, but the balance between attack and defensive cover needs a lot of work. With tensions rising, Chiesa came off the bench to much surprise. Salah's cross was spilled and Chiesa expertly and acrobatically volleyed home in the 88th minute. In stoppage time, Liverpool weren't done, with Salah getting his first goal of the season, expertly taking down a lost ball and hitting a fierce shot with his weaker foot to record his 10th opening day Premier League goal. Liverpool prevailed 4-2, but Bournemouth's bravery ensured the scoreline was earned, not gifted, a 6-goal epic that underlined both Liverpool's firepower and their newfound fragility. The surprise result of Matchweek 1 went to Sunderland, who secured a 3-0 home win against West Ham, courtesy of goals from Mayenda, Ballard and Isidore, giving Graham Potter his heaviest defeat as West Ham's manager. But the real star of the show goes to their new recruitment in Habi Jara, a big money purchase to replace Joe Bellingham from Strasbourg, and boy did he look like the real deal. For West Ham fans, reality is starting to kick in, as this could be a relegation battle season. At the moment, they're losing star players. They still haven't addressed key concerns in midfield now, and offensively, they look like they're running out of ideas. There'll be big pressure on Bowen, considering Paqueta wants to leave before the window ends. It feels like West Ham fans will have to keep things humble this season, as surviving in the Premier League will be more important than winning anything, as Premier League survival may actually feel like winning the league. The statement win of the week goes to Man City 4, Wolves 0. City's rebuild began with a 4-0 thumping, Haaland scoring twice, debutant Reinders scoring, assisting and getting a pre-assist, and Shirky adding the 4th goal. The star of this week goes to Tajani Reinders, whose excellent display in midfield for Man City showcases the new look approach that Man City are turning towards to find success this season. Reinders was at the heart of everything City. His pro-dribbling abilities make him the face of the newly evolved City team, drawing inspiration from Guardiola's Barcelona.
He was coaching Barcelona, of course, with Lionel Messi, and how he played there and how he brought it also here for Man City. It's something what made me really excited.
With many teams in the country mastering the art of the press, the only way now to combat this effectively effectiveness is to go back old school and have press-resistant, pro-dribbling players who can dominate and own their 1v1 zones. For the first goal, Rangers skipped past 2 players in Wolves midfield before playing a delicious scoop ball over the top onto the on-rushing Rico Lewis, who played across goal to find Haaland with his first of the season. Rangers then recorded his first goal of the Prem season courtesy of Oscar Bob, Man City's Iniesta, who played a powerfully weighted pass to find the powerfully timed run of Rangers, who took his shot first time. And the third goal came courtesy of Draffer's brilliant pass to find Rangers in space, whose run wide and cut back pass back to Haaland produced the third goal. Haaland has now scored double figures against Wolves, the most goals he scored out of any team in the Premier League, and continues Haaland's personal record of always scoring on the opening day of a new Prem season. The game was topped off by Rayan Cherki's excellent step over, cut inside and place finish away from the goalkeeper. Wolves pressed high, played with bravery, but got punished for every single mistake they made. Prem fans' focus is on Liverpool winning the league, but Man City may be surprising a lot of fans this season. Tottenham 3, Burnley 0 produced the goal of this week courtesy of a rejuvenated Richarlison, who is finding new life under Thomas Frank. But the player under Rangers for Player of the Week could have gone to Mohamed Kudus, who produced 2 excellent assists with his weaker foot to find Richarlison twice, as Kudus and Spurs were the perfect representation of direct play leading to big results. Kudus' cutback cross with his weaker foot found Richarlison, who took a step back to realign his body and took a turning, scooping shot directed away from the goalkeeper, as Kudus produced another unstoppable moment, stabbing the ball in the opposite direction to play before playing across yet again with his weaker foot, and Richarlison's scissor kick bicycle kick was the perfect embodiment of the confidence he is feeling under Thomas Frank. This game also brought forth the new Premier League rule where keepers will get penalised for keeping the ball after 8 seconds. Ultimately, Spurs' direct, high-pressing game produced the goods against Burnley, and former Spurs player in Scott Parker did not get the return to Tottenham he would have been hoping for. Late drama of this week went to Brighton 1, Fulham 1. Brighton went ahead courtesy of O'Reilly's penalty before Muniz equalised deep into stoppage time with a thunderous finish from a Wilson corner. Brighton wasted chances to double their leads, which has become synonymous with their game, and their summer dealings haven't necessarily helped improve the matter. Fulham only had 1 clear chance, but they buried it. Josh King, just 18, impressed with his fearless ball carrying and looks to be one of the promising players of this new season to watch out for. Brighton did dominate until Belabor went off. Fulham stayed compact and struck from a set piece, but they deservedly got themselves back in the game for the direct pressure they applied, spamming crosses inside the box, throwing men forwards, and never knowing when they're beaten. The big takeaway for Fulham though is, can they prevent Muniz from completing his move to Atalanta, as he could be vital to what they do in the Premier League this season. The stalemate of the week went to Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0. Newcastle dominated but couldn't score. Villa held on despite Konsa's baffling red card for hauling down Gordon, but this game will be dominated by an Isak-less Newcastle team, who is currently doing everything in his power to force himself out from Newcastle. This has put Eddie Howe under pressure, with Anthony Gordon starting the game up front, where his intelligent movement and timing of his runs caused a lot of danger and havoc against Aston Villa's high line. New recruits in Elanga missed the best chance of the game from Tonali's pass, as he should have played in his teammate instead, but at the moment, the draw reflects the parallels between Aston Villa and Newcastle, last season's Champions League spot fighters. Although the application and desire was there from both teams, especially with Newcastle's work rate and how Aston Villa showed their rear guard once going down to 10 men, the rustiness was there in the final decision making for both teams in the final third, and at the moment both teams have been unable to strengthen accordingly in the market right now. Whatever Newcastle and Aston Villa do in the 25-26 season will be aided by the business they can get done before the window shuts. The hyped clash of this game week went to Arsenal beating Man United 1-0 at Old Trafford. Arsenal could thank Calafiori's 13th minute header from a Rice corner which sealed it. However, it was a game in which both clubs used their big money signings. Cunha and Mbeumo played together, with Sechko coming off the bench to make his debut at Manchester United. Victor Gyökeres also played for Arsenal. However, the conversations and narratives would have painted Man United in a much higher light compared to an Arsenal team which seemed to lack ideas and spark in attack, with Victor Gyökeres, the big money striker recruit, looking a bit lost in the Arsenal system. not getting the direct service that he's looking for. On one hand, time is needed when you've barely had a preseason, and to understand how a striker moves in relation with his teammates, you need time, you need understanding, and you need patience. But the question marks will always go down to, did Arsenal need this particular type of forward in their team? Someone who's so reliant on service finding him. Man United showcased great bravery and excellent moments, and Broma looked dangerous and came inches wide from a headed opportunity. Cunha looked to drive the ball against Arsenal's defence. Mason Mount was linking the play between midfield and attack, and Dorgu came very close to equalising the game for Man United with his low-driven power driver rebounding off the post. In the end, Arsenal's reliance on their set-piece glitch and their rearguard defence helped them get the result. However, United pressed well, and despite defeat, left with more positives to say. Is Amarim's attack coming back? Chelsea nil, Crystal Palace nil, showcase controversy and a reality check. Chelsea fans are in cloud 9 right now. They can rightfully call themselves champions of the world after they destroyed Paris Saint-Germain 3-0. They've secured the Conference League, and they achieved last season's objective of getting Champions League football. With all the excitement around new recruits this summer, as well as the patience finally paying off with Esteval making his debut, Chelsea's draw against Crystal Palace epitomized this. If you didn't play directly, you got punished in game week 1. Crystal Palace are one of the most respected teams in the country and have one of the most formidable front threes in Sarr, Eze and Mateta. After securing the FA Cup and the Community Shield against Man City and Liverpool, Crystal Palace played with a fearlessness, and under the helms of Glasner, one of the most impressive managers in Europe, he gives his Crystal Palace team the tactics and the platform to take on anyone. The controversy of this game week though went to Crystal Palace, as referee Darren England applied a rarely enforced law first introduced in 2019, setting the tone for stricter officiating this season, which comes at no surprise considering referees have to announce their decisions to the crowd. So you'd imagine there was big pressure on all of them to ensure no controversies and no mistakes would dominate match week 1. Mark Guehi ended up in front of the Chelsea wall before Eze's strike made contact with the ball, thus resulting in Crystal Palace having a disallowed goal versus Chelsea. After that moment in the 13th minute, with expectations that the game would finally kick up speed, that moment never really came, with Glasner showing that he has the blueprint against Maresca's side by picking up his 3rd consecutive draw against Enzo Maresca with his wing-back system, which turns into a back 5, restricting all the spaces between the lines that Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez and Chelsea like to play through. For Chelsea fans, this was a bit of a reality check that even though times are exciting, work is still needed. But this season should still be a fun one, and Chelsea's season could be typified by Brazilian sensation in Esteval Willian, who introduced much needed moments of spark and fearlessness against Crystal Palace. In the end, a draw was fair as honours were even, and Chelsea will look forward to their next game against West Ham on Friday. And the match that typified direct play at its best fell to Nottingham Forest's 3-1 win against Brentford. Forest dispatched Brentford, with Chris Wood scoring twice, reminding everyone yet again why he must be in your FBL team, with new signing Ndoye, signed from Bologna, heading in the other goal. Every Forest goal came from direct service, a bouncing ball off a corner, Gibbs White's excellent swivel cross to the far post, and a simple through ball. Brentford's only response came courtesy of last season's big money recruit in Thiago, who unfortunately was injured throughout the season, who got the consolation goal from a penalty to make it 3-1. Brentford's new coach and Keith Andrews will be furious. His team conceded 2 from set pieces, the areas he is known for. But right now, similar to West Ham fans, this season looks treacherous for Brentford. They've lost Thomas Frank, the key manager that gave them hope against any team in the league. They've lost out on big players, with more set to leave before the window closes, and their summer recruitment has left a lot to be inspired. A difficult season for Brentford to ensure their survival in the Premier League. Leeds United were the next newly promoted team to bag 3 points of the 25-26 season, courtesy of Lucas Nemec's late penalty after a contentious handball by Tarkowski. But the star of the show in the game went to none other than Ayo Tanaka, who starred on his Premier League debut and earned the Man of the Match award. Tanaka ran the midfield with purpose. He was tidy on the ball, alert in interceptions and relentless in his pressing. His high pressure moment triggered the turnover that led to the handball and eventual penalty, which Nemec calmly dispatched in the 84th minute. Tanaka brought structure and steel to Leeds' aggressive setup. So there are the matches played in game week 1. Let's look at the table. Spurs and City start at the top, with Sunderland Sunderland flying into the top 4. Arsenal at the moment edge the Champions League spot. Chelsea, Newcastle and Brighton already dropped points. And at the bottom are West Ham after the heaviest defeat of this weekend. So, what did we learn in match week 1 of the Premier League? This opening weekend wasn't about possession football, it was about direct play. Sunderland, 17 crosses, 3 goals directly from wide deliveries. They bullied West Ham in the air. Spurs, 27 crosses, with Kudus being instrumental, capped by Richarlison's excellent bicycle kick. Man City produced 20 crosses, but 3 of their 4 goals came from wide areas and they came courtesy of direct play, either through carries centrally or transitional moments. Nottingham Forest, 25 crosses, 2 goals from a corner and a Gibbs White cross. They were direct and ruthless, and Fulham created nothing all game but 1 corner, 1 goal as they apply the pressure late against Brighton. And Liverpool showcase why they're the team to watch with their transitional, direct, dribbling game against Bournemouth. Compared to teams that were more possession reliant, Chelsea had 29 crosses, got 0 goals. Newcastle, 26 crosses, 0 goals. And Brighton dominated the ball, scored from a pen, but dropped points to a Fulham set piece. 76% of all goals this weekend came from crosses or set pieces. The pattern is crystal clear. Teams who embraced direct play won, teams who didn't drop points. So if you're building out from the back this season, here's your plan B. Get it wide, whip it in and attack the back post, because right now, direct football is deciding games. So here's everything we learned in match week 1 of the Premier League. Leave your thoughts and opinions below with your big moments of match week 1 and leave your predictions for match week 2.
I just feel like Pep might have a push this season.
This is Nini FC and I'll see you guys later next week same time for what we learned Premier League match week 2.